Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a profoundly important journey. We're going to explore the realities of postpartum depression, or PPD. And hey, this isn't just going to be some dry clinical overview. No way. We're intertwining the latest medical science with real-world survival stories from mothers and families who've actually walked through this darkness and, thankfully, found their way back. Whether you're a parent, a partner, or just someone who wants to understand, we're breaking down this complex condition so you know exactly what it is, how to spot it, and crucially, how to heal from it.
Okay, so let's dive right in by confronting a pretty stark reality right up front. Between 15 and 20% of new mothers are going to experience postpartum mood disorders. To put that into perspective, that's literally 1 in 5 women. 1 in 5! This is a condition much more serious than the typical baby blues people always talk about. We're talking about a severe, disabling medical condition that strikes during what society tells us is supposed to be the happiest time of a woman's life. To really grasp the immediate emotional stakes here, take a look at this quote from Patience, a mother who lived through PPD. She said, "I felt extremely alone and like I was suffocating." Now, what makes her story so incredibly eye-opening is what she does for a living. She's a perinatal mental health therapist. She knew the signs, she knew the exact symptoms to look for, and she still felt completely suffocated by it. Honestly, if a trained mental health professional can be that overwhelmed by PPD, it truly goes to show that this condition absolutely does not discriminate.
Section 1. Beyond the Baby Blues.
Now, it's absolutely crucial we draw a hard line here between the baby blues and PPD. The baby blues affect up to 80% of mothers. It's mostly mild worry and fatigue, usually peaking around the 3rd to 5th day and clearing up in a week or two. It's basically a brief hormonal adjustment. But postpartum depression, completely different animal. It involves extreme sadness and anxiety. It persists for months, sometimes longer if it goes untreated, and it actively interferes with the mother's ability to just do daily care activities for herself and her baby. They are fundamentally different experiences.
And these extreme feelings manifest in some very specific, really terrifying ways. We're talking unrelenting insomnia even when the baby is fast asleep, intense irritability, even rage, and difficulty bonding. But rather than just rattling off a list of symptoms, we really need to understand how they actually feel. Take Stacy, a 31-year-old mother from a Native American reservation. She described being paralyzed by severe anxiety and intrusive what-if fears that literally made it hard for her to breathe. These symptoms aren't just feeling a little sad. They are deeply disruptive physiological and psychological alarms going off in the body.
Section 2. The Faces of PPD. Let's look at how this impacts different communities.
You really have to grasp the deep cultural fears at play here. Take Lisette, for example. She experienced severe depression and suicidal thoughts, but she was absolutely terrified to speak up. Why? Well, she worried that as a woman of color, sharing her darkest feelings wouldn't get her medical help, but instead could actually mean having her child taken away. That profound, totally understandable fear drove her further into isolation, basically turning a treatable medical condition into a silent nightmare.
Then, look at Divya's experience. She was dealing with racing thoughts and this overwhelming compulsion to constantly check if her baby was breathing. But she didn't ask for help right away because of guilt. For Divya, the narrative of generational sacrifice was just so strong. As a child of immigrants whose parents sacrificed literally everything, she was taught that when things get hard, you simply try harder and you show gratitude. That deeply ingrained mindset became a massive barrier to her acknowledging her very real medical condition.
And the thing is, this stigma, it's everywhere. Even for highly resilient people like Gabby, who was in the active duty military. She asked such a crucial question: why will we deal with physical health issues, but not mental health? I mean, she faced intense physical demands, and when she struggled to breastfeed, the hospital was right there with physical lactation support. But when she was spiraling with dread and crying randomly, her mental health struggles were largely ignored. It's like the physical demands of motherhood are readily addressed, while the profound mental health struggles are just pushed down.
Section 3. Risk factors and causes.
Listen to me on this one. Postpartum depression does not happen because of something a mother did or didn't do. It is not a character flaw. It is deeply rooted in biology. Actually, scratch that, it's a biological freefall. After childbirth, a mother's body experiences an abrupt, dramatic drop in the hormones estrogen and progesterone. This triggers rapid chemical changes in the brain that regulate mood. You combine that kind of hormonal crash with massive sleep deprivation, and you've got the absolute perfect storm for a mood disorder.
Now, while PPD is common, we really need to pause for a second to recognize something much rarer but incredibly critical: postpartum psychosis. This affects a very small number of women, usually within that first week after delivery. The warning signs are severe: feeling completely confused, hallucinating, extreme paranoia, or making attempts to harm themselves or the baby. Make no mistake, this is not just severe depression. This is a psychiatric emergency that requires immediate, life-saving medical treatment.
Section 4. Partners in the Shadows.
That's right, new fathers and partners can absolutely experience postpartum depression too. Research actually shows they can exhibit the exact same symptoms: profound sadness, overwhelming exhaustion, and intense anxiety. Factors like a personal history of depression, financial struggles, relationship stress, or honestly just the shared sleep deprivation can pull partners into the shadows right alongside the new mother. And obviously, that severely impacts the entire family dynamic.
So, if you're the one supporting a spouse or partner through this, here is your action plan. First, validate her experience without judgment. Reminding her of her so-called duties is not going to cure a disabling depression. Instead, step in. Physically and emotionally lighten the load. Reassure her that this doesn't define her and that it is temporary. And finally, seek professional help. Not just for her, but potentially for you as a couple. Finding that professional support absolutely will turn the tide.
Section 5. Pathways to treatment. All right, let's look at the gold standard of care from the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, or ACOG. Their medical guidelines are crystal clear here. Withholding effective antidepressant medication just because a mother is pregnant or lactating is not recommended. The science definitively shows that untreated depression poses far, far greater risks to both the mother and the baby's development than the medications do.
Now, your doctor might bring up a few clinical options. First-line SSRI antidepressants like sertraline and escitalopram have a great track record and are generally safe for breastfeeding. But there's also a massive recent breakthrough, zuranolone. It's a brand new 14-day oral synthetic hormone medication designed for rapid relief. It literally targets that specific hormonal drop we talked about earlier. And of course, talk therapy like CBT is highly effective. The main takeaway here: you have options, and there is no single right way to heal.
I also really want to highlight the mindset it takes to accept this treatment. Seeking help isn't a sign of weakness. Consider Olympia, a veteran who felt she had to maintain this tough exterior, but she realized she couldn't battle this invisible force alone. As she beautifully put it, actively choosing to step back and heal is a profound, rebellious act of self-love. By taking a knee, she completely redefined what true strength and resilience actually mean.
Section 6. Finding Hope and Healing. You know, healing is rarely a perfectly straight line, and Adriana's story is a great reminder of that. Her PPD didn't even hit until she was weaning her daughter much later, which totally shocked her. But through peer support groups, therapy, and medical care, she found her footing. Parents can and absolutely do emerge from this darkness. They find a joy and strength in parenthood that honestly, in the depths of their depression, they couldn't even imagine was possible.
I want to leave you with a final, somewhat provocative thought today, inspired by a mother named Jasmine. When you're in the thick of it, depression lies to you. It lies to you about your worth, and it tells you that you're failing. But beneath all of that chemical noise, I want you to ask yourself a question. Do you believe that you are the best thing for your baby? Because the truth is, you are. Fighting for your mental health, seeking treatment, and giving your child a healthy mother or father is the absolute greatest gift possible. Thank you for joining me for this explainer today. If you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out to a healthcare provider.